Shalom, shalom. This is Paul Yisra'el. Welcome again to Rock. Today, we're in my work shed. Well, one of my work sheds. I'm sharpening chains right now. My electric chainsaw sharpener. I go through a lot of chains, and when you have 50 or 60 chains that you rotate through, you want to be able to sharpen them yourselves. So, we've got one of these electrical chainsaw sharpeners. It cuts the amount of time you spend sharpening your chain down greatly, and the chain is still sharpened really nicely. I'll do a video on that. You get them at Harbor Freight. That's where I got mine from. I've been using mine for about a year and a half. You can buy the replacement grinding wheels, and again, when you use a lot of chains, yeah. So I go through a lot of chains. I have several chainsaws, and for different sizes, I use 18, 16, and 14-inch bar. And I have them all preset for that. I'll do a video on the chainsaws. But anyway, this is not about that. Here's the question. Or the email that I've gotten quite often. Following Yeshua, my husband, or I left my husband because he was controlled. And then I've been asked the question, Following Yeshua, are you controlling? Well, let me answer the question. The word control, the definition means to exercise authority or dominating influence over. And I know, when you hear some of those words, your cheeks tighten up. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that he's saying these words. It means to regulate or adjust to a requirement. Doesn't your job do that? Doesn't your job make you adjust to their requirements? Or do you just go into the job and run your own show? Controlling means authority or ability to manage or direct. Isn't that what a man's supposed to do in his house? Isn't that what a man's supposed to do in his house? He's supposed to regulate. He's supposed to manage and direct his household, his home. But the problem is that this Western society has told us and has levied these words as bad words: submission, obedience, control, authority. Inside of your home, man, you're supposed to have that. Did not our patriarchs have that in their households? When Abraham said, hey, we're going to war, didn't his son say, let's roll? Or Jacob, didn't his son say, let's roll? But today, what is being seen and what is being shown is when a woman does not like what you're doing, she will say, he's controlling. Now, there is a bad controlling, and it is trying to control others' behavior in an inappropriate way. Now, let me ask you, what is an inappropriate way? Well, if you're a man, you're trying to manipulate your wife. You shouldn't have to manipulate her because she should be submitted to you. So you shouldn't have to play games to try and get her to. In fact, I would say this: if you are a man who tries to make deals with your wife, well, if you do this, I'll let you do this, or if you come with me and our good representation when we go to church, this Shabbat, then I'll let you buy that Birkin, whatever that purse is, an expensive one, Coach. Let you buy that Coach purse. That would be a bad control because you're exercising manipulation. You're exercising bargain making. When you're a man and you run your home, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Or another way of negative controlling. If you belong to a church and the church starts telling you what you should be doing inside of your house, that's controlling. That's an inappropriate way. That's an anti-Torah way. But as far as a man controlling his house, you should be controlling your house. So I don't get, I've had people, you're just controlling. You're right. You're absolutely right. I actually control my household. I actually have the authority, and I direct my household in the direction that I want my household to go. So, yeah, you could say I definitely am, and I'm not ashamed of it. You see, these words have been used to try and intimidate you men, to make y'all men feel like you're wrong, to make y'all men feel like, there's something wrong with you. So that you then, well, I'm not controlling. Now, are you the good controlling or are you the bad controlling? Because there's two different types. But you say, well, I'm not controlling like that. I'm not controlling. So what you're basically saying is that you don't have the authority in your house. Because you're so afraid of a word. You're so afraid that they're going to say this word about you. They're going to say you're controlling. They're going to say, hey, it's my house. It's my home. I'm directing my house where I want it to go. And if a person doesn't like the way my house has been directed, they are free to leave. They are free to leave at any point or time. Because I'm directing it, but based on the vision that the Most High has given me. And also what that means is that when a woman is interested in joining your homes, brother, you need to be quite clear of, hey, I'm directing my house. I am. This is not a co-direction. I do not compromise in how I'm directing my house. So if a woman is not, there's a lot of brothers right now that are talking to sisters. And you need to get to the good stuff in that conversation. And what I mean by that is, you need to figure out, is she going to come into your house and run the program that you're running? Is she understanding what submission and obedience is? What reverence is? Because if she doesn't understand that, don't try to wait until she gets in your house and start teaching her that stuff. Too many of you men do that. You're playing around with your household by doing that. You're playing around with your household by literally waiting for her to come in. And then when she comes in, now suddenly, when you should have been teaching her and explaining these things to her before she got there, she should be understanding your program before you even got there. But instead, you're waiting until she gets there to try to teach her how your house is being ran, what requirements you have for your house, how you are directing your house, she should understand this, because see, they get it when it comes to their job. They get authority. They get controlling. They don't ever come to their job and go to the CEO of the job and say, well, I don't think that we should run it this way. You're too controlling. No, they come in there and say, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? I'll do whatever it is it takes for me to move up in the company. But then when it comes to marriage, they're not interested in moving up with you. They're not interested in going to the next level with you. What they're interested in at that point in time is, well, now he's controlling, but your boss wasn't controlling. He's controlling, but your supervisor wasn't controlling. Yeah, he's controlling, but your CEO isn't controlling. When they tell you the hours that you are supposed to be at work, what do you say? You get to work we talked about Elijah. You'll get to work 15 minutes before your shift starts. You don't ever say he's controlling. But then when it comes to marriage, when it comes to the Bible, when it comes to Yah, when it comes to your husband, for some reason, that's controlling. You see how flipped we are? You see how in this society, the society has taught women to reverence, obey, and submit to your boss, to your landlord, to the Section 8 housing committee, to the food stamp program. You'll do whatever you can to keep all those things rolling in, but when it comes to your husband, suddenly he's controlling and domineering. When Section 8 says that you can't have a man come inside of your house, you don't say, well, they're domineering. You don't say that, do you? And this is one of the greatest problems that we have today, is that marriage is all backwards. It's completely backwards. And we see this as okay. When you hear the word controlling, you're oh, I'm not controlling. Listen, I just stand in with what the Bible says. Yes, there is an inappropriate controlling, but that would be something anti-Torah. The Bible doesn't say that when Abraham told Sarah to tell the Pharaoh of Egypt and the king of the Philistines, when he tell him you're my sister. The Bible doesn't say he was controlling, does it? Does it? It doesn't say that. When men talk to their wives in the Bible and told their wives something that they wanted their wife to do, the Bible does not say, and they were controlling in a negative way. It was called obedience. It was called submission. It was called, she reverenced her husband. So she understood that in order for me to be part of his house, I must do what he is telling me to do. The same way, in order for you to be part of that job, you must do what your job tells you to do. You don't call them controlling, do you? You still get your ass up, and you show up to work on time, and you do your job, don't you? Because you want to move up in the company. Because hopefully at some point in time, your goal is to get into a position where you can control somebody else. That's really what you want. You want to get high enough up in the company where you can control somebody else. But biblically, that wasn't the case. Biblically, that was not to be. So brothers, if you're talking to a sister, make sure she understands. Make sure she understands how you run your house. Make sure she understands the dictates and the mandates of your house. Stop trying to exercise bad control, which is trying to control others' behaviors in an inappropriate way. Trying to manipulate is inappropriate. She should be moving at your word. If she's coming into your house, she should be already ready to move on a word. Not, well, I'm getting myself ready, I'm working on it, I'm trying to get myself to the point where I can. Why did you even bring her in your house if that was the case? Why did you marry her? Get to the point, brothers, where you can control your house. If you cannot control your house, if you cannot control the people that are inside of your house, you're in a bad state. If you have a co-control in your house. She didn't go to her job and ask to be a co-CEO, did she? Nope. She didn't walk in and say, shit, I'm the co-CEO of this mother. She didn't say that. If she came in as a mail girl and delivered mail or as a secretary, she did her job and was happy about it. But then when it comes to your house, it's well, I don't know the requirements and I don't know. And man, we're the ones who are failing at this. And then even when she's not qualified to take the job, you still want to give her the job. When she's clearly showing, I don't really want to know what it takes to be in your household or what it takes to be your wife or what it takes to be, what kind of program you're running. She's not getting herself ready for the program at all. And you still drag her into the marriage and drag her into the family. And then when she starts kicking and starts saying, well, you're controlling, you're like, oh, I'm not controlling. And you're scared now. Shit, I'm controlling. I control my house. The same way Yah controls his people. He gives laws, he gives commandments. And we have to obey them or we don't have to obey them. If we don't obey them, we're not his. If we do obey him, we are his. It's the same thing in your house. You give a commandment, a directive, a code that you may live by for you and your household, and she needs to listen to it. And she needs to do it. And stop worrying about, oh my gosh, what's my family going to think about me? What's my neighbors going to think about me? If you're worried about all those people and what they think, you're not ready for marriage. You're not ready to get married. Because getting married is devoting yourself to your husband. Devoting yourself to his vision that he got from the Most High, his goals, where he's taking his family. So for me, I wouldn't bring a person that wants to live in the city out here to live this life. Well, I just want to live in the city and have a Corvette and hey, hallelujah. I'm sure there's somebody else out there for you. It ain't me. You have to want this life. I grow my food. I raise my animals. I build my home. I live the way I live by choice. I chose to live this way. I chose the simple paths. I chose the biblical paths put forth by the Bible. Come out of her. Be ye separate. Touch not the unclean thing so that he will receive me. I chose to grow my own food because why would I want to be dependent on a system to feed me and my family? So I try to as much as I possibly can to grow everything that I need. Vegetables, I'm doing that already. We're still eating. We still have plenty of vegetables that we grew from last year in our freezers and on our walls that we can. But you got to be about that vision, brothers. And that's the one thing that I really esteem about Sister Ebony and Sister Tanisha. Is they didn't come in, well, I'm running my own program. Especially, Tanisha, we were in the world. But Ebony came in and she's like, what's your program? She was cleaving to my program before she got here. She was cleaving. She wanted to know what I was doing before she stepped foot on this property. Even for the visit. Before she visited, she wanted to know. Well, she didn't really visit. When she came here, she was like, I want to know your program right now. I want to know how you run your house right now. I want to get myself ready to be your wife right now. That's beautiful. That's the right spirit. So I'm hoping that this brings some sort of clarity to you. Is he controlling you? Damn right I am. I control my house. I set the direction, I set the path, and my family moves in it. My children are happy in it. The wives are happy in it. And I work my ass off to make sure that they are happy, to make sure that they are taken care of, to make sure that their needs are met. Shit, if you don't like that, hey, keep being controlled by your boss. You seem to be happy doing that anyways. Bless y'all. Shalom.